Love you guys. Thanks for coming. Now, that last night installed entirely, I am contractually obliged to say that we've got a massive show for you tonight. If we didn't, who gave a shit? But we've got stand-up from the mucho hilarious John Cruckshank, everybody. Good stuff. Now, we're wrapping up the show. We're getting really close. I think it's time for another installment of our beloved segment, Why the Fuck Not? This is where we do things on our cancelled TV show because why the fuck not? We've outsourced this one tonight because it's outsourcing is the future of the ABC. Yesterday, I was... a few ABC viewers not on board with that. Well, yesterday I was on Triple J Breakfast talking to Ben and Liam, asking if I could have my old job back. And we asked the listeners of Australia to pitch themselves. Triple J listeners, pitch yourselves to come on the show, do something on national television, fill up some time. We can't be asked that anymore. Why the fuck not? We have that lucky listener in question. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Isaac. Hello, Isaac. Hey, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Like looking into a mirror. Look at that. Hey. Very good. Ooh. You're a Blair Cottrell vibe, aren't you? I love it. Oh, OK. That's it. Sorry. I apologise. Now, Isaac, tell the good people at home what you're going to be doing for us tonight.
I will be Tom's hype man for tonight because why the fuck not?
My hype man. If you didn't miss that, hype man. Do you have any hype experience?
Partial.
That'll do. All right, Isaac, please take it away. Hype it up.
Let's do this, Tom Ballard!
Thank you, Isaac. I feel pretty hyped. Okay, we need hyping around the ABC at the moment. We're in a bit of trouble. I don't know if you've heard. In May, the federal government announced the ABC's funding would be slashed by $84 million. And this year, the ABC execs told Senate estimates that since 2014, they've shed 1,012 jobs. Yeah, you're looking at 1,013, baby!
He's number 1,013, bitches!
Thank you, Isaac. Well, good news, ABC employees. It came out today that Managing Director Michelle Guthrie has announced a new initiative to boost the morale of ABC employees, in which high-performing employees will receive a thank you card featuring a character called Larry, OK? This is entirely real. We have the cards here for you to look at, all right? We haven't made these. This is entirely true. Okay, this is the one where Larry thanks you for being a straight talker. And then this is one where he thanks you for representing ABC principles, which is very nice. Now, we're here at Tonight. We actually got a card from ABC executives as well. We didn't think it was very nice. It just said, clean out your desk by 5 p.m. Friday. Which... thought the loudspeaker was unnecessary, but we actually made our own cards from Tonightly to give to the ABC execs that we've called our Barry cards. They just say, fuck you for cancelling our show. The so-called Larry cards seem to have angered some ABC employees. Apparently, one employee told The Guardian, it's like the Wiggles for grown-ups. I mean, who the fuck is Larry? Now, that trader employee is wrong, OK? This is nothing like the Wiggles. For starters, unlike the ABC, the Wiggles appeal to young people. And if you're wondering, you know, who is Larry? Clearly, Larry is an annoying white guy from the ABC, because presumably Charlie Pickering, Paul Barry and Tom Ballard were unavailable. So, thank you. Under Guthrie's initiative, employees who receive a Larry card will get the opportunity to attend industry events and go behind the scenes at different ABC productions. Wow, really? A behind-the-scenes tour of my own workplace? Well, congratulations, Debbie. You've been voted best at spreadsheets and you've won a tour of your own office. There's your kitchen.
Come this way. You'll see this is the now defunct set of the ABC comedy show Tonightly.
Hey, what's going on here? What the hell is this?
Oh, sorry, we're just doing a quick behind-the-scenes tour for these employees and then we'll be out of your hair, Joel.
Joel?
All right, so Tonightly premiered in December 2017 and critics described it as being on 5 nights a week.
Hey!
Mercifully, it's being axed by the ABC, thus saving the corporation $7 whole.
$8? Come on! Look, I hope you guys are enjoying your Larry Prize tour and everything, but we're trying to make a show here.
Prize? No, Joel, these people are being punished.
What?
Now, if you come with me, Tony Jones will be waterboarding you. This way.
What the hell? I don't know about that at all. Well, Scott Morrison's been busy in his first couple of weeks as PM tackling urgent issues like fighting back against teachers being taught to spot potential transgender students, or as he calls them, gender whisperers. Yes, gender whisperers, a reference to that classic film in which Robert Redford tries to convince a male horse to become a female cultural Marxist. I mean, you know, sure, compared to the rest of the population, LGBTI kids are more likely to attempt suicide, and trans kids in particular are at very high risk of poor mental health. But hey, as ScoMo says, we should just let kids be kids. Yeah, sad, isolated, depressed kids. Boys will be boys and nothing else! I might need you again soon, Isaac. It's been a busy week for Scott, re his views on queer things. On Monday, on 3AW, he was asked about gay conversion therapy and said, "It's not an issue for me." Well, no, Scott, because you're heterosexual. You know gay conversion therapy isn't converting people into being gay, right? Although I do happen to think that that is a very good idea. Speaking of discrimination, we've talked a lot about discrimination on Tonightly over the past year. We pride ourselves on tackling all those forms of discrimination, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, or just some good old-fashioned racism. We're very proud of the fact that we've been there to say, hey, stop it. Well, there's one area left when it comes to discrimination that we haven't touched on, and I'm really glad we're able to deal with it in our penultimate episode. Rodney Todd has more.
Hi, I'm Rodney Todd, and I'm short. Because of this, people call me little fuckwit. I take offence to that, but it's not the fuckwit part. It's the term little. I'm here to say I'm not a little fuckwit. I'm just a fuckwit. I am an absolute fuckwit. I do about 3 to 100 fuckwitted things every day. But the term little is unfair, unnecessary, and the product of social bias called heightism. Flat white, thanks.
That'll be $4.50, thank you. Little fuckwit.
In the early 70s, sociologist Saul Feldman first coined the phrase heightism. He wrote a paper on it called The Presentation of Shortness in Everyday Life, Height and Heightism in... fuck it. It's a really dull title. Just look it up.
No, that's not the whole title, you moron. We should pay me more, you little fuck.
Studies show taller people are likely to be wealthier and more successful.
A British medical journal piece estimated that a 6-foot-tall person, most often a man, is likely to earn 100 grand more in a 30-year career than someone who is 5'4".
This was proven by Robert Wadlow, who got into the Guinness Book of Records for being wealthy and successful. Or for being the tallest man on earth. One of the two. I couldn't be fucked doing the research. Of America's 45 presidents, only 6 have been below average height. The last one was Jimmy Carter, elected in 1977. Since then, it's all been tall presidents. How's that been working out for you? GFC, global warming, financial crisis, ISIS. But the U-line from the tall man. Societal heightism trickles down the cultural leg to small people like me.
When I was a young kid in primary school, I was teased and called Little Black Dot. How offensive is that? Little. That's what probably turned me into a fuckwit. Thanks a lot, Trent Cooper.
Can't Dr. Guy for what he did in primary school.
We can and we will. When I had my first adult job, I was often called Michael Jackson, and my colleagues sang Michael Jackson songs such as Ben and ABC.
This might not seem insidious, but think a little deeper. Those are songs when Michael Jackson was a kid. A short little kid.
They never sang his tall songs like Thriller or Beat It or Earth Song or Free Willy Song. Those are all from the height of his career, 176 centimetres. I was so dirty on them, I keyed their cars, put prawns in the air vents,
And shattered my boss's head. I was really in a bad way. But what options are there? In Australia, there's not much you can do to expand your height measurement, as limb lengthening surgery for cosmetic purposes is banned. Check this out. Look at this. Look at that.
Elsewhere, in America, at the Paleorthopedic Institute, they offer stature lengthening surgery. I interviewed a man who had this procedure. He wanted to be kept anonymous, so I gave him a cool voice of a cool villain.
Hello, Rodney.
Hello, if you can just explain to me what limb lengthening surgery is, please.
Most often it's done on the legs. What it consists of is inserting a rod in the marrow canal of the bone, cutting the bone midway, and then very slowly extending that rod about 1 millimeter a day for 2 to 3 months. You can gain between 5 and 7 centimeters safely per segment.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how painful was it?
10.
How tall were you before, and how tall are you now?
5 feet 5 inches, and now I'm 5'8", or 172 centimeters.
What made you want to get the surgery?
I was born in a country with food rationing. You could say I was malnourished, so my growth stopped at about age 14.
And how much did the surgery cost?
$180,000, plus you have to pay for accommodations, so let's say $250,000 total.
$250,000, so that's about 100,000 Australian.
That's a lot more.
So, for the cost of only $100,000 and a little bit of pain, a person can be made taller and their life changed for the better.
Mum, Dad, please, just give us the money. It's your fault I'm short anyway, they're your genes.
Fine.
I'll transfer you the money.
Sick. Siri, open roulette app. Put 100 grand on black.
Shit. Little fuck.
From clunky shoes to painful surgery, the lengths short people go through to not be called a little fuckwit is just unfair. You see, I have the same dream as Martin Luther King Jr. that someday people won't be judged by the height of their skin, but by the colour of their character. That's why I'm devoting my time and energy to my new campaign, Just a Fuckwit.
I steal toilet paper from public toilets. I'm just a fuckwit.
I throw share bikes into bodies of water. I'm just a fuckwit.
I honk my horn unnecessarily and I yell at people from my car. I'm just a fuckwit.
Oh, hello! What are you little fellas doing, eh? Where's the other little dwarvies? Where's Grumpy and Dopey?
I'll whack off your fat.
You're a fuckwit.
Thank you. I'm Rodney Todd, just a fuckwit. Fuck heightism and fuck you.
Filthy language. I'm going to say, guys, this is a fun show. I'm having a fun time. I feel like I'm doing pretty well. How do you think I'm doing so far, Isaac?
Fucking ripper!
Isaac, everybody! What a wonderful choice. Our stand-up guest tonight is set to appear at the Theatre Royal Hobart as part of the Sydney Comedy Festival Roadshow, and you can catch his solo show at the Sydney Comedy Store on November 29th. I love him. Please welcome the very funny John Cruckshank!
Thanks for everything. Everybody, it's good to be here. I've been unwell. If I'm telling the truth, I got tonsillitis. Yeah, it's popular, and I don't know if you ever had tonsillitis before, right? But if you ever had it, you know it's serious, and you got to take medication for it, right? Antibiotics, however you say it, right? And if you've ever had to take antibiotics before, right, you know you can't just walk around taking them. Okay, there's rules. And you got to follow the rules, right? And this is the rules. This is the rules of the antibiotics that I'm on, right? So you got to take one tablet every 6 hours, but it's got to be on an empty stomach, right? So you can't have eaten up to 2 hours before you have it, right? Or up to half an hour after you've had it. When the fuck do you have it? Do you know what I mean? Like, I still haven't taken it yet. I don't. If you get up at 8, I can't. You know what I mean? I didn't get into life for this. Oh man. Well, I can tell you though, because of my lifestyle, I've been getting heaps into conspiracy theories lately. Right? Yeah, but not 9/11 or anything like that. That's Westfield Food Court, right? I've got my own conspiracy theories that I've been coming up with, right? Do you guys want to know them? Yeah, sick. Finally. So here we go, right? Conspiracy theories. Diet cordial. Why wouldn't you just put more water in normal cordial? That's all I got at the moment. As soon as I figure that out. But I'm not afraid to tell you about my favourite drink, right? The frozen margarita. Okay, not the pizza, but right. The other one, the normal one, and frozen margarita. I hear about it, I get a bit shy. Like, oh, frozen margarita. Yes, please. I'll have one. Oh, it's so good just thinking about it. But a lot of places you can't get it. Like, they wouldn't give me one here before my show. So do you know what I had to do before my performance tonight? Instead, I had to have a shot of tequila, right, and get a Calippo. Right? That's how you do it. Right? I'm the frozen margarita. It's the same autopsy. Right. Everyone knows Calippo? Oh, so good. One of the best. And going further, does anyone here know who invented the Calippo? No. Human beings. Right, our species came up with the Calippo. A lot of people have a lot of ill will toward the human race, but it's like, mate, why don't you sit down, have a Calippo? How are you? You know? Because nature can't do it. Nature can't produce a Calippo, right? I've seen nature, it tries. Right? Have a look at Antarctica, the icicles coming off the roofs of the cave. Same shape as a Calippo, shit flavour. Right? No wrapper, I wouldn't bother. And it's cone-shaped, the Calippo, it's conical. And it's made by human beings, right? And we make the best cone-shaped food there is. Right? Think about the other stuff we do, like the cornetto. Right? Another good one. And think about, if you would, for a second, the way you eat a human-made cone-shaped food. Right? Well, you start at the top, don't you? The big surface area. Then you have to work your way down to the bottom. Right? And what's at the bottom of a cornetto there? Chocolate, exactly right. A bit of a treat. Right? A surprise. From humanity to say, thanks for taking part. Thank you very much, everyone. Shout out to my mum.
Cruckshank, everybody! Well, this is the final instalment of Explainsley here on Tonightly. Are you guys ready for some hilarious and informative comedy? Yeah! Well, prepare to be disappointed. We're not getting renewed. I'm extremely pissed off about the state of the country right now, and quite frankly, I've run out of fucks to give. So, are you ready for some angry, sweary ranting, barely disguised as comedy? Yeah! Well, that's what you'll fucking get! This one is dedicated to the kids. Hey kids, say goodbye to your old Prime Minister, Malcolm Turnbull. He's not dead, he's just going to live on a farm. A wonderful farm where he can give speeches to Goldman Sachs and run around in his leather jacket as much as he likes. Bye Goodbye, Malcolm. Thanks for all the memories and all the nice words you said about how we should do something about the greatest existential threat facing mankind.
Climate change is real, it is affecting us now, and it is having a particularly severe impact on Australia.
We cannot be seen as a party of climate sceptics, of do-nothings on climate change. I will not lead a party that is not as committed to effective action on climate change as I am.
No, Malcolm, you won't. The truth is, you never did, because the party that you've led twice in your career and as coalition partner of the Nationals could barely give two shits about climate change. And towards the end, it seems, neither could you.
The coalition has dumped the idea of a clean energy target.
Also coming up, Malcolm Turnbull's humiliating backflip on his energy policy to save his leadership.
Last week's party room approved version of the National Energy Guarantee has now been scrapped.
The legislation to move forward with the emissions component of the National Energy Guarantee will not be able to pass the House of Representatives.
Man, Malcolm Turnbull was so good at backflips, especially for someone who doesn't have a spine. This is the same guy who wrote a piece in 2009 called Tony Abbott's Climate Change Policy is Bullshit, in which he wrote, the fact is that Tony Abbott and the people who put him in his job do not want to do anything about climate change. They do not believe in human-caused global warming. Many Liberals are rightly dismayed that on this vital issue we are not simply without a policy, but we are now without integrity. We have given our opponents the irrefutable, undeniable evidence that we cannot be trusted. Yeah, turns out that evidence was bang on. I would happily keep talking about your legacy of disappointment, Malcolm, but I actually think that this guy from 2010, talking about Kevin Rudd, sums it up pretty well.
Because he did not have the guts to take on this issue, he squibbed it and abandoned it. And he wonders now why people ask, what do you stand for, Kevin? What do you stand for, Kevin? What do you believe in? If you do not believe in action on climate change, what is the substance, the political substance of your leadership? And the answer is, there is nothing there.
Hey, Malcolm, on behalf of myself and these little kids here, 2 words: fuck this. Fuck it. Fuck the hypocrisy, the weakness and inertia on this issue that your political career represents. Fuck the fact that the choice of who was going to replace you as Prime Minister was between a dude who jokes about Pacific Islanders losing their homes thanks to rising sea levels and this guy.
This is coal. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared.
The Treasurer...
Fuck that! Burning coal might not hurt you in your lifetime, ScoMo, but it's probably going to hurt me, and it will definitely hurt these guys. So fuck this noise. You've let us know your top priorities as PM are the drought and getting energy prices down. Well, the Farmers Federation reckon climate change is making the drought worse, and renewables are forecast to halve wholesale energy prices over the next 4 years. But you and your government have said fuck that, and now our new energy minister is anti-renewables campaigner Angus Taylor.
Out with the old, in with the new energy policy.
The challenge now is to accept that we had a mess and that we're now fixing it.
The next generation abandoning subsidies for renewables in favour of renewed investment in coal and gas.
We have to leverage those resources, not leave them in the ground.
Fuck that. And fuck the fact Scott Morrison's new Chief of Staff was the Deputy Chief Executive of the Minerals Council of Australia and also worked at Rio Tinto. And fuck the fact that our new Environment Minister, Melissa Price, is a former lawyer for the mining industry who says she would support the construction of a new coal-fired power station. Hey, Scott Morrison, why don't you just go the full distance and just open up your cabinet to Captain Planet eco-villains like Luton Plunder and Hoggish Greeley? Fuck this! Says they will honour the Paris Climate Agreement but can't really seem to name a mechanism to reduce emonsions, so fuck that. Fuck the fact that Nationals Deputy Leader Bridget McKenzie A posed like this in a photograph and B last month said, I'm not afraid to say the C word, coal, coal, coal. Fuck the fact that a member of the Australian government saying that is considered less offensive than when a dumb comedy show uses the other C word. Fuck the fact that Tony Abbott has any influence on this policy area at all. Fuck that he called climate change absolute crap, then said that coal is good for humanity, then said climate change is probably doing us good, and then became a key figure in destroying Australia's chances of having an emissions trading scheme or a price on carbon or even the limp, half-assed compromise that was the neg. Hey, Tony, I know you think your daughters are hot. Well, in the future, they're going to be a lot hotter thanks to your work in helping cook the fucking planet. I'm done. actually, rest assured, this is a multi-partisan fuck that. Fuck the Labor Party on this. From Paul Keating's dismissal of environmental issues in the early 90s, to Rudd's failure to take action on climate change, despite this being the greatest moral challenge of our time, to Julia Gillard's Citizens' Assembly nonsense. Fuck One Nation for their denialism. Fuck the Greens for failing to get any lasting serious climate policy through when more Australians want climate action now than before the carbon tax. Fuck the whole political class, failing to get anything actually done. Fuck the fact that fossil fuel companies made almost $1 million worth of political donations last year, and fuck the fact those dollars were accepted. Fuck the fact the coal lobby spent $3.6 million on its massive ad campaign last year, and fuck the fact they called it coal. It's an amazing thing. Fuck the fact that when one academic went looking for people who have moved between positions in the fossil fuel and mining industries and senior positions in government over the past 10 years, he found more than 180 names. Fuck Australia for being one of the largest carbon emitters per capita on Earth, for our emissions last year being the highest on record, and now we have bushfires in winter. Fuck you, bushfires! Fuck the fact that Paris, or no Paris, some scientists say the entire world needs to get to zero carbon emissions well before 2040. Fuck this impossible situation in which we as a country aren't able to figure out our climate and energy policy because of our high electricity prices, and one of the major reasons why our electricity prices are so high is because we can't figure out our climate and energy policies. Fuck the persistence of climate change denialism in this country, despite that position putting you at odds with the CSIRO, NASA, the United Nations, Elon Musk, all the countries that signed the Paris Climate Agreement, the Howard government, ExxonMobil, and Margaret fucking Thatcher, who was talking about the effects of climate change 28 years ago. In fact, fuck the fact the world officially recognised this problem in 1979, and we've known about the greenhouse gas effect for ages, as demonstrated by this Australian newspaper article about it from the year 1912. Fuck how unfair the impacts of climate change are. Fuck me, Tom Ballard, for not knowing enough about this, really, not really caring enough, and secretly not wanting to give up my privileged standard of living to change it. And fuck the fact that that same standard of living will no doubt insulate me from the immediate worst effects of climate change in the future. Most of all, fuck the new research telling us that climate change will make hundreds of millions more people nutrition deficient, which may lead to troubles with wound healing, infections and diarrhoea, which means on top of everything else, climate change could quite literally give us the shits. Sorry about that. No. Just to get a tad worked up. Because politics in this country are broken. A system just isn't equipped to deal with a challenge like climate change because it requires political parties to think further ahead than the next election and to maybe develop policies that might go against the interests of their donors. Our politicians have been shithouse at this for decades. And if you're a young person like me, you should feel pissed off. We should feel pissed off because we're getting ripped off by these people and we're the ones who are going to have to deal with it. It's going to be on me, it's going to be on these guys. Hey guys, how you going? Nice to see you. Aww. Thanks so much for coming along. Lovely to see you. Oh, what's that? Using children like this is emotionally manipulative? I don't know, do you guys feel manipulated? Now. Pop on your ghost masks just like we practiced. There we go. You know, someone once said that politics is about conviction and a commitment to carry out those convictions. Now, sure, that person was Malcolm Turnbull, but the sentiment isn't wrong. So, hey, Australian politicians, please be people of your convictions. You work for us, not for them, but for them. Be people of your convictions. Be people of your convictions. And quite frankly, if you have no conviction about taking real action on climate change, then get out of the way, because we are running out of time and you are slowing us down. Wave goodnight, kids. Say goodnight. Thanks so much for watching our second